And big news from the world of automobiles. Members of the FADA, which is the Federation of Automobile Dealers Association, are asking the Reserve Bank of India for help. They say private banks aren't quickly lowering car loan rates, even though the RBI has cut its main interest rate. Public banks are passing on these savings to car buyers right away, but some private banks are moving too slowly. FADA wants the RBI to step in, make sure loan rates drop faster and give small auto businesses a fair deal. Now, to discuss this issue further, I am being joined by Sai Giridhar, Vice President of FADA. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Giridhar. We really appreciate your time. I would want to start off by asking you first, has FADA engaged with private banks directly to address this issue, and what has been their response so far?
So we have a continuous dialogue with most of the banks, be it private or be it public. And most of the time the response is that the cost of funding is still high. It's going to take them some time to lower the rate of interest. But when we do a deep dive, actually, you see, the RBI from their stake, they've already done a remarkable job as far as reducing the repo rate. In fact, this is the fastest reduction in repo rate ever in the Indian history since February, if you see. But if you see the translation as far as the auto retail is concerned, the consumers are not getting benefit out of it. So probably we got the opportunity to get the meeting with the governor. We thank him for giving us this opportunity, and we could appraise him about this concerning issue, because if we lower the rate of interest for the consumers, it's definitely going to help the industry. And what we are talking about is an industry which is worth more than 9 lakh crore rupees. We do approximately 50% of GST collection, which is close to 3.32 crore rupees, and we contribute 7.1% to the GDP of India. So we were able to tell these things to the governor, and he assured us that probably he's going to look into this in a very positive note. And in fact, if we see the exact reason why the private banks have not been able to pass on this rebate is because most of the private banks today in India are doing funding on fixed rates. It's not on floating rate. Had it been done on floating rate, the interest benefit could have been easily passed on to the consumer. So our request is very simple, that the consumer should be given a choice whether he wants the loan on fixed rate of interest or on floating rate of interest.
Right, Mr. Giridhar. I actually also want to, just in order to understand this issue well, could you also help me out with the timeline for how long have these automobile dealers have been facing this issue from private banks, and when do you exactly expect this issue to be resolved, and what are the key milestones?
So it's basically not the time. See, when the repo rate has gone down, if you see the rates as far as the home loan is concerned, the rates for home loan has gone down. The expectation from the consumer point of view is the consumers are actually waiting on the brinks. Even they're waiting for auto loans also, the rates will go down. That's the general feel in the market. Just because the rates are not coming down to the expectation of the consumers, I believe ultimately purchase is getting affected. People are deferring their purchase decisions just on the heck of it that the rates would come down, and then probably they'll decide and they'll jump on to get in their new vehicles. That's one. Second, with lower rate of interest, probably the consumer has the flexibility of taking the higher models or probably going in for the more aspirational vehicle that he is wanting to choose for. And we certainly believe, any rate cut would definitely propel the industry. It will help grow the industry. And we want the same in our industry also. And since we are not getting any headwinds from the private sector banks, probably we thought it is best to address it to RBI and sought their help in this.
Yes, that definitely, that definitely makes sense, Mr. Giridhar. I'd also like to ask you, what message then would you like to convey to stakeholders, including private banks, the RBI and FADA members on this issue?
So it was, the only message is that it was not only regarding repo rates. We in fact gave a representation requesting the governor on recalibration of the risk weight. If you see today, all the banks as far as auto loan is concerned, it is having a risk rate ratio of 1:1. So that means 100% risk is given to auto loan, wherein it's a secured kind of a funding. The default rate is bare minimal as far as auto loan is concerned. When you compare it to home loan, the risk weightage is 0.4%. So it is 40% to the cost of the asset that they're funding. So we only requested the governor that probably the banks could be told to recalibrate the risk weightage. We even requested him that every bank is supposed to have at least 18% of priority sector lending, which is agri-based. So if the auto loans, which is given in the rural and semi-Indian, semi-urban markets, if that can be considered as the agri-based funding, probably it will help, because in rural India, we've seen it is just because of the want of finance, easy finance available. We've not been able to make that kind of headwinds. We have not been able to make that kind of inroads as far as the retail is concerned. So I think if more and more banks are willing to fund rural India as far as auto is concerned, that's going to definitely help. Today we see only a small fraction of private banks or small banks which are funding in rural India. So, and credit card charging of credit card fees, which is done by banks, that's also on a very high side. So we requested the RBI that for debit card, there are norms from RBI. If it's less than 2,000 rupees, it is 0.4%. It is above 2,000 rupees, it is 0.9%. If the same could be done for credit cards also, because as on day, banks charge-in and charges are exorbitant. If you talk about, they even go up to as high as 2.5%, wherein the margins for dealers are immediately wiped off only on the charges which we have to pay for the credit card swiping.
Right, Mr. Giridhar. Well, with that, Mr. Giridhar, I'd like to thank you for your time and sharing these concerns with us on NDTV Profit. And we really hope that there's a resolution to this issue very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.